Most conspiracy theories, especially the crazier ones, are meant to discredit the real ones. Stick around until the end of the video. And make sure you share some of your own facts in the comments. What's something you know to be 100% true, that everyone else dismisses as a conspiracy theory? The art world is largely built around money laundering and tax evasion. That actually makes a lot of sense. Would explain a lot of the really simplistic art pieces that sell for millions. You pay $10K for a painting, then give it to a college 3 years later. During that time, it went from $10K to $50K because fuck you, it's art. So you tell the IRS you donated $50K this year, and you can deduct donations from your yearly revenue and thus pay less taxes. The university plays along because they get free shit out of the deal. K-pop was created by the South Korean government, under suggestion from the IMF as an extra exportable industry to fix its balance of payments. It really happened that way. I'm more surprised people are surprised governments get involved in cultural exports. Japan had some 5-year Cool Japan thing going on. Thailand sending chefs to America to popularize Thai food. It's a way to win the game in Civ games even. Cultural victory. You want tourism and people buying your shit, so you do whatever works. The government is actually watching everything you do. Now that doesn't mean there is some dude sitting at a computer looking over your internet history, but the government does have fuck tons of information about you on a server somewhere. The paradox is that a lot of people in the government don't know they have it, and the rest don't know what to even do with it. There was a lot of evidence leaked to journalists by Edward Snowden, a national security defense contractor. The evidence and response from our government was convincing enough for me. I'm not sure people deny that it happens, really, but just take a number of positions on whether or not the government should be doing it. Not everyone dismisses it, but the US government is still experimenting on its own citizens without their actual consent, but their implied consent. Fun fact, they legally can do this to anybody in the military, and did so to a group of Marines, testing gas masks against mustard gas or some other chemical weapon, under the guise of preparing for Iraqi chemical weapons. Now on the surface this doesn't seem so bad, it makes sense. However, the guys suffered varying degrees of damage, and the doctors who treated them were, according to a few whistleblowers, ordered to remain silent, mostly due to the fact the doctors noticed that the injuries were not those of mustard gas, but a different chemical weapon. This happened in 2002 or 2003 I think, and a handful of the men died, with many more passing away a year or two later. I wish I currently had the source I got this from, but it's long since disappeared. They did actually find Amelia Earhart. About 10 years after her disappearance, a skeleton was found in the general area of her last known location, that was identified as female of the correct age and race, which was located near a compass taken from an airplane. They couldn't 100% identify her though, so it got brushed aside in favor of the mystery. There's also a big theory that she survived the crash but died in a Japanese internment camp. But that also gets brushed aside. Flood insurance rates are a cycle to churn properties for big banks. We're in the very beginning of the bank accumulating property phase now. It goes like this. Flood insurance is cheap. Waterfront, flood zone, property values go up. Current stage of the cycle. Flood insurance rates start to creep up. They're currently going up 25% a year until they reach their true rate, meaning, they'll keep getting risen until the banks get what they want. Starting to see this. People sell their flood zone properties because they become unaffordable. For example, you have a rental property that's clearing $250 per month, then your flood insurance goes up $100 per month, and it's going to up next year, and the year after that. People will start selling. This hurts property values. This is where the banks clean up. Property prices drop so low that people can't afford to sell, so they have to short sell or sell for a loss. If they can sell at all, otherwise the bank forecloses. The bottom falls out of the market and prices plummet because insurance rates are too high. The banks accumulate thousands and thousands of these undervalued properties. Now, the banks have to sell these things. If only there was a way to sell these properties. Oh yeah, let's reduce flood insurance rates and give the market a boost. This is where the cycle repeats. A couple things to note: the big giant million-dollar homes aren't really affected by this. The owners are usually wealthy enough to afford the flood insurance rates, or own the house outright and don't need to carry insurance. The banks and the government are basically the same entity in this circumstance. A lot of houses in flood zones are huge neighborhoods that just happen to be low-lying, and can be miles away from waterfront. So, poor neighborhoods get hit the hardest by this. There's a cabal of very wealthy and influential psychopaths who control a good chunk of world politics, New members are introduced to, or encouraged by their own peers to partake in, pedophilia. They end up doing that, not just because they may be bored with their lives or enjoy hurting children, but also because this is a team-building exercise, in the guise of underage sex parties allows their friends to get compromising material on them. It is an initiation ritual aimed at building trust between everybody involved. If, almost, every member of the cabal has dirt on everybody else, then they surely won't rat each other out. Most conspiracy theories, especially the crazier ones, are meant to discredit the real ones. I've heard that the military encourages UFO conspiracies surrounding Area 51, because it's a testing site for experimental aircraft, and they'd prefer the rumors that spread around Area 51 to be complete lunacy about aliens, rather than credible sightings of top-secret experimental stealth bombers or whatever. But I've only really heard this as rumors, never really seen any hard proof. I don't know if it's true or not, but I once heard the theory that most UFO sightings appear on lines connecting military bases. Meaning, most UFOs are secret government aircraft flying from one military base to another. The only reason why we are still in the Middle East is to harden our military, so that if we go to war with another nation our troops have battle experience. I think this is what Russia is doing with Ukraine now too. And to just project our military power. Did you know the US Embassy in Iraq is the largest embassy ever built, by any nation? It's almost the size of Vatican City. We're there for the long haul. Don't forget money too. As the biggest weapons exporter in the world, we create a shit ton of weapons and war is very good business for arms dealers. Luckily for them, they sell to our military and have a lot of control over our government. Also, having a military presence in a place with lots of oil means you can try to stabilize prices and create stronger relationships with the people who control the oil. The longer we're in war, especially ones with no end in sight and not many soldier casualties, a handful of people make a lot more money. I hope someone can help me find the article I'm talking about here. Back in 2012 I flew back to the US via LaGuardia. As we started our descent, my husband, then my boyfriend, told me to look out the window. Loud as hell all I could say was holy shit, there's a drone next to us. Woman in front of us whipped her head to the side and gasped in horror. As soon as she saw it, it went sideways and flew under and away. She got all in a panic and asked a flight attendant who assured us that we probably mistook something else for a drone. This thing was huge. 10 to 15 feet long? I've never seen one before and didn't know they were that big. Guys, the lady kept pestering the flight's attendant who had to then come back after speaking to the pilot to refute what we saw. She kept saying that the military does not fly their drones this close to commercial flights. No one believed us. I'm from the good old USSR, so I just got mad paranoid and kept my mouth shut. My husband would tell this story often. Friends sent articles confirming the pilot's take on things. And then around the reality winter time, whistleblower releases, 2018, I ran across an article where the DoD admitted to have been doing this for ages while denying it to the public. At one point I felt like I imagined the whole thing. I mean, it was so surreal to see this drone feet away from our plane. It really shook me when it happened. I had nightmares for a while. I've been combing Google trying to find the article to no avail. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, help a girl out. Tons of stores are blocking your phone signal and offering free Wi-Fi to mine your data. Every Dollar General I've ever been to does this without a doubt. They push their app so damn hard, but then when you get in store, there's no signal. But hey, there's Wi-Fi. Well, the Wi-Fi is slow as shit and only seems to open the app and suddenly the coupons are different compared to what they were at home. All the good ones are gone, so you get frustrated and set your phone in the cart and finish shopping. You get back to the car and you find the app ate half your battery. What was it even doing? It's a coupon app. There's no way it's supposed to take so much power. I disabled all the permissions in mine, because it really does ask for a lot of weird permissions, too. Reagan conspired with Iran to delay the release of the hostages, thereby allowing him to win the presidency from Carter. I know this because all of the contacts he established in this act of treason were later used to illegally sell anti-tank missiles to Iran in yet another act of treason. College will always be expensive and out of financial reach for most, because the military uses free tuition to make their recruitment goals. It's either join the Guard or take out loans that can't be discharged. Thanks for watching. Subscribe below for more daily content.